The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
I like your glasses, Debbie.
Thank you very much, Rod.
Yeah.
Yes, my
They're
reading
good.
glasses. Yeah.
Hey, look. What do you think?
Oh my.
I know.
Oh, that's cool.
I got them this morning.
That's added gravitas, sophistication, and a frame for your face.
Yeah. Do you like them? Seriously?
I do, actually. They look really good.
Yeah, but they do change
Okay.
your face a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research, actually.
I'm going to take them off now. They're for long,
They're for long distance. Mine
yeah,
are for
long
reading.
distances. So,
But actually, I mean, glasses are now a fashion accessory. So, it's a really good time to be wearing glasses. They're fashionable and they can give you, as yours do, full frame there, a power executive look. You you've got a literary genius look or a fashionable intellectual look. It's all great.
But it does beg the question when you're on the dating sites that, if your profile hasn't got glasses and then you turn up with...
Oh, yes, you look different. That's true.
So you've got to bear that in mind.
Yes. So I guess, actually, the closer you can be to real life for your profile picture, the better.
Yeah.
But those glasses, oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, right. Well, we're going to be talking about what you can talk about on your first date. So we've got Julie back on.
The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
Okay, Debbie,
Yes,
you're right.
I am.
You've got lovely little boots on today.
Thank you so much.
Julie, she's got hairy boots on.
Has she? Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, the three of us,
Yes.
the trio,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about what to say and what not to say on the first date. So, Julie, you've been looking at this for us. Just tell us what you found out.
Okay, well, I found out that there's quite a lot of do's and don'ts on a first date that can actually, decide whether you will have a second date or not. So there's quite a lot of things you probably need to remember that you might not initially think about when you're planning your first date.
Okay, so
Yeah?
let's go with the do's to begin with.
The do's. Okay, well, first of all, I would say do expect to be surprised. Maybe pleasantly surprised or maybe not so pleasantly surprised, especially if you've been chatting to somebody online for a while and you're getting to know them. When you first meet face-to-face for the first time, how they are might not be exactly as how you'd imagine them to be. So just be prepared for any eventuality, let's say. So they might be taller than you'd imagined or shorter than you'd imagined, or perhaps the sense of humour that you'd sort of had between you when you were chatting online might not translate so well when you meet up face-to-face. So, yeah, just be prepared to be surprised and be open to whoever the other person might be.
Okay.
I'd also say consider the location for where you go on your first date. So don't go somewhere that you know you can't afford, because that could be potentially embarrassing. And also make sure you go somewhere that's relaxing, so somewhere where both of you feel comfortable. Maybe it's a place recommended by one or other of you, but somewhere where you can actually hear each other speak and get to know each other without sort of a pressurised environment. I would also say, very important on a first date, is actually listen. So listen to the other person. I think there's a natural instinct when you meet someone for the first time, unless you're a very shy person, to want to talk quite a lot and say a lot about yourself, almost sell yourself, I suppose, in a way. But there's so much value to be had in just actually listening to the other person and taking the information in.
That's a bit like you, Debbie.
Is it?
Just gabble away all the time.
I thought he was paying you a compliment there, Debbie. I thought he was saying you were such a good listener.
No.
Silly me.
No.
I would also say talk positively about other aspects of your life. So, I mean, maybe perhaps there's things going on in your life at that particular time that aren't particularly happy or you're not particularly pleased with. Maybe it's your job or a family situation. But when you go on the date, try and be upbeat and talk about things positively. Put yourself in a good light.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I would also say, sounds a bit negative, but it's not really, but do you have an escape plan? Okay, so if it's not going as well as you'd hoped, have something lined up, but make it, I would say make it legitimate. So perhaps say that you're going to meet some friends afterwards and actually do arrange to meet them, tell them that you're going on this date, you've met this person, you're going to be having dinner or drinks and you expect it to last a certain amount of time, and actually tell your date. After this date I'm actually catching up with a few girlfriends, boyfriends, whoever it might be, and so actually have that in the bag before the date begins. If it's a disaster, then you know you've got somewhere to go to sound off afterwards, and if it's a success, then you can go and boast about it as well and leave your date wanting a little bit more.
So, I mean, that's good advice. On the first time, keep it short.
Yes. Keep the date short. Yeah, don't have a long date.
What about the old trusted mobile phone trick?
Well, there is that as well, but I think that's quite well known now.
Yes.
So you might put yourself in a bad light if you do something like that. So it might be better just to be upfront and say, lovely, but I am going. It doesn't have to be friends, but just say you've got to get home for X, Y, and Z or whatever. But maybe just have something in the bag just in case you think it's not going to go as well as you might hope.
Okay, and obviously when you come away from the date, what's the sort of etiquette afterwards? Is it good to sort of send somebody a thank you, a text or something? Just sort of say thanks very much, but no thanks.
Or as nicely as possible, or thanks very much, and when can we do it again?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say definitely. It's definitely etiquette to say thank you afterwards. I would also say one of the don'ts actually is probably don't appear too keen during the date itself, because that might potentially put your fellow dater off. If you're like, what are we going to do next? When are you free next week? It might be a bit too much. Enjoy the date for that opportunity as it is, that first date. Get to know each other. Yeah, maybe if the date's gone really well at the end of the evening, as it's all winding up, maybe suggest, what are you doing in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, or whatever. Judge it by how you feel the date has gone.
And often, if you really click with somebody, all this is going to happen naturally, isn't it?
It is, exactly. That's a very good point, Debbie. You're not going to have to worry about it all. But I know a lot of people, when they're going on a first date, they sort of build it up. Even if they've been chatting online or they've got to know the person a bit first, there's still, I think, a lot of expectation when you meet face-to-face. So
yes.
it helps to have just maybe a few little pointers that, as you said, when you get there, the chemistry might be so great that all this goes out the window. You don't need to worry about anything. But in case it doesn't, it's good to have a few little pointers in your back pocket just in case.
Yeah,
So,
but talking about sort of booking a 2-week holiday on the first date is probably a no-no.
that is probably a no-no. And then there's some other great no-nos. Don't say how much your date reminds you of your mother or your father, for example. Regardless of whether how much you love your mother or your father, it's not a great comparison for your fellow date.
And don't talk about your ex.
Definitely, that's the top one, Debbie. The top one is do not talk about your ex in any form.
Okay.
So don't bring them up. Even if it was an amazing relationship or it was a disastrous relationship, leave that out of the equation completely. And maybe, as you said, naturally down the line, things like that will probably come out. But yeah, leave that for the first date. So another one for the first date is don't get too drunk. It can be a tendency sometimes, maybe due to nerves or excitement, that you knock back the sherbet, but it can have a disastrous effect and mean you may never see each other again. And there's things like when it comes to the bill as well, don't assume who is going to pay. Maybe, offer to split the bill.
So go Dutch.
Yeah, maybe go Dutch, yes.
Well, I think that's a really good decision to go onto a date with, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so that's another one. Things like, make eye contact when you're talking to them, and dress to impress. It is a first date after all. So, make that extra little bit of effort.
Julie Davis there. Top tips from Julie Davis. That's not easy to say.
You did well.
I like when she's talking about knocking back the sherbet. Now she can drink.
Oh,
I'll tell you, I went out with her a couple of times. A couple of bottles of wine.
Oh, wow.
In one evening.
Was that you?
No, that's her.
Oh, that's
before she turned up.
She was so nervous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
That didn't work out well then.
No, she's good advice there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Really, really lots of good tips to take with you on a date. But I guess
Top tips from Julie Davis.
what she says there is be open but not too open, friendly but not too friendly,
Keen but not too keen.
natural but not too natural.
So what's she trying to say then?
I don't know.
The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.